Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad you could join us. Thank you. Thank you. So for those joining us this morning that may or may not know, we have a very special guest. She is the top agent in the Keller Williams Southwest office. She produced over 43 million in production volume last year, and she's been in real estate for
43 million.
43 million in production. Yes, ma'am. She has the Audra O'Neill team. Welcome, Audra O'Neill. Hi, Audra. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, good, good. I didn't have one number. So how long have you been in real estate?
So I've actually been in real estate for a little over 20 years. I got my license when I was in my young 20s, but my husband and I were, I didn't do it full time all the time. I was actually a buyer's agent for another realtor here in Sugar Land for years, learned a ton. She was amazing. And what?
Bear with me. Let me, the way we're going to run this is I'm going to mute everybody and then just unmute Audra and I. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll try to respond to them. We have a limited time and we got a lot to get through. And then I'll say maybe 10 minutes to unmute everybody and you can ask questions that way, okay? So let me mute everybody. And let's, everybody's muted. Okay, Audra, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get started.
Okay.
So one of the things I want to ask you right now, how are you maintaining, what's your mindset and what is the mindset of your team going through this stay-at-home order and the pandemic and such?
Well, our team is actually doing really good. In the beginning, we had a new way to cope. We had to move all of our team homebound, and we did that. We took all of their computers and monitors and their chairs, and we set them all at home with their home offices, made sure they were very comfortable, made sure they had everything they need to keep forging forward because we didn't really slow down.
Okay.
We didn't slow down at all. I mean, we have a lot of listings right now. We have a lot of buyers that are in the market. Not everybody is in a situation where they can just take the time to not buy a house right now. We have people that need a house. We had people that were pending. We had people's houses that we had sold that were going to be homeless. We have divorces still happening. We have people in situations where they might have lost their job, maybe due to COVID, maybe not due to COVID. There was several people in situations where they needed a house. So we had to find a way to make that happen. The one thing we're extremely thankful for is every single person on our team is completely healthy. All of their families are healthy. And that was the number one thing for us, is to make sure that our circle of people maintained their health, their safety, and that their mindset was 100%. Okay. So we focused on that. And believe it or not, I use this shift book all the time. It's amazing how relevant this book is, even during COVID-19, which even Gary Keller couldn't have guessed that was going to happen, right?
Right.
But we are very focused on our mindset. We meet on Zoom. We were already doing this. We were already set up technology forward. We did a lot of virtual tours before this. So all we did was move home. Did we have a lot of things happening? Yes, but we meet on Zoom 3 times a week. The most important thing that we focus on is our mindset and time management.
Okay. All right. Now, you being a parent, correct? You have kids?
Yes.
Are they school aged?
Oh, yes. 14 and 15 and stubborn and love video games and sleeping late.
All right. So share some information about how you went about managing your time with them being home now and managing your business, because I know a lot of people on the call are in that situation.
Well, the one thing that we're super fortunate about is that everybody already had their own piece of technology. So they were able to do their own Zoom calls. But our kids are literally, one of the things my daughter said was kind of funny when we first started. She goes, "Don't worry, Mom, I'll get my stuff done. I'm in night school." And I was like, "Oh, no. And, we let them sleep late. We let them play video games. We kind of let stuff happen. But now that our particular district is starting to grade, we put some new things in place. We were like, nope, internet is cut off at 10 p.m. during the week. You have to get up. You have to take out the trash. You have to do your Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's going to happen. We're all at home now.
Right. We put new rules in place. No, you're not in night school. You're going to do your work during the day. You're going to take out the trash. You're going to wash the dishes. We have a new normal. And, we had to put those things in place. It didn't really follow the rules. And so this week we had to put some more things in place. Now you don't get your allowance. Now you don't get things. So, and they have to show us their work. But I'm kind of a high maintenance person anyway, and I have a lot of accountability, even at home, all the way down to our team. So we put things in place, and Mike and I are a good team together that, we play good cop, bad cop, both at the team and at home all the time.
Okay. That leads me to my next question. I asked you I want to know about action plans relative to the stay-at-home order and COVID-19, and what you just said prior, that you guys were kind of already forward thinking. Share some of the things you had in place, and is there anything new that you put in place because of the situation?
Absolutely. So obviously our face-to-face is a little bit less. We have taken several listings sight unseen. We've sold houses sight unseen. Matter of fact, somebody finally just came into town right before closing. I mean, we're past the point of her being able to pull out, and she trusted us enough to go through the listing very carefully. And our realtors are not just like popping out and disregarding how important it is to make sure that we're safe. Everybody on our team has a mask. Everybody on our team has a full box of gloves for both them and their client. They are armed with shoe covers. We're having real conversations with realtors. We're also only taking out people that are ready to buy in 30 to 45 days. We call those A buyers. And we're not taking someone out that's like, okay, I think I want to buy in the next 6 months. My lease is up in December. That's not who you're taking out during COVID-19. You're taking out people that need to buy in the next 30 to 45 days. And with our technology, we already had a digital listing presentation. So we've actually transformed it. Matter of fact, our new listing presentation comes out today. We have 2 versions of it that I wrote. And it's so that we can share our screen and have conversations with people during this time and talk to them.
I got to slow you down. You're dropping a lot of knowledge on us real quick. So
am I talking too fast? I'll slow down.
You're dropping a lot of nuggets on us, and I want to make sure that we explore them all. So You said you're only taking out people that are ready to buy in the next 30, 35 days.
Yes.
Tell me what that conversation is like to pin that down, to isolate, to verify that.
Well, we have a very real conversation with them. We've learned a lot of people are being abandoned by their realtors for lots of different reasons. And there's no shame in that whatsoever. If a realtor has a compromised immune system, or they don't feel comfortable going out into the public because of their own children or family, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And there's no shame in that. However, these people want to buy. So they're coming to find different people to show them. And so we've had real conversations. There was actually a big post on HAR last night about something that's been happening for years, has nothing to do with COVID-19, but it's happening more now. So people are paying attention is, well, I have a realtor, but they won't come out and show me. So I'm just going to call the listing agent. And if I like it, my realtor will write the offer, right? Those conversations have to get very real. You have to figure out who they are, where they come from, have they been in contact with anyone? We use that COVID-19 addendum that came out that says, who are you? Where have you been? And why do you want to buy right now? We get a pre-approval letter. If we do not know you and you're already not under a buyer's representation agreement with us, we will get to know you before we just run out and show you. So we make sure that they are somebody that is a viable buyer. And we get buyer's reps with most of the people that we work with, especially right now. Especially right now. You need to have a very clear understanding and conversation with the consumer about what their needs are, who they are, and what they need during the next 30 to 45 days.
That's important. That's we talk about that before all this went on, and it's more necessary now than ever to make sure that we're having those real conversations, like you said. All right, so I just want to clarify that, because you said it in passing and just kept rolling past, like, whoa, that's really something we need to talk about. You also mentioned that you guys have you got the safety precautions in place, and you mentioned another conversation. It's skipping by me real quick, and hopefully I'll remember before we get to it. But you mentioned. Go ahead.
Sure. One of the things that I think is super important is having the mortgage conversation with them. Our team is being counseled by people that, we have a team of people, not just our team that's actually part of the Audra O'Neill team, but our partners, which are our lenders that we trust, the title companies that we trust, that are giving us knowledge and information about how to now pre-qualify a person. Okay. one of our lenders, one of our listings, it's under 300,000, but it was already a high price per square foot. And we knew that that was in FHA range. Well, I sold this house 4 times, but I had to turn down 3 offers. And the reason I had to turn down those 3 offers was because I knew that buyer was not going to get us to the end. The other agent didn't understand what was changing and happening, and the buyer didn't understand what was changing and happening. But I did, because I was being counseled by people that were telling me, this is what's changing on FHA. We now need a 640 credit score. We need the debt to income ratio to be tighter. We need, and they need money back. So all these different things are happening, even though we're going into contract and things are happening. It doesn't matter, even if we're the day before closing. If they tighten their strains, boom, you're not closing.
Right. Well, okay. what you said to me right there is tactic number 12. You're bulletproofing your transaction all the way through, and that's happening because you have a team, not just your buyer agents and listing agents. You have a total team, lenders, other providers that are providing you guys information every step of the way so that you're prepared for it and you know what to expect.
Absolutely. And we turned down 3 of those offers. Wow. 3 of them. And I had to explain to the seller that these people are not going to get us to the very end. And, and their contract on the house they were going to was also contingent. So it would have imploded on us, and life would have been very difficult in 25 days had we taken those offers. Finally, we got another offer because it is a great house. I said, this is it. We finally got the one, conventional. They have money to put down. They're not asking for money back. We got the trifecta, and now we can go put an offer on a new house, and we're going to get this one to the end.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
That's very important information, and asking them very detailed questions. Our mortgage questions to the lender before we take an offer are very detailed. If they will not answer those questions, we will not take your offer.
Wow. Okay. Excellent information. Okay. 2 things I want to get to before I open it up for questions. You mentioned that, well, with your business clients, is this a pull from previous marketing that you still have people calling you, or are you actively still seeking? Share some of the client mix that you're dealing with that keeping your business rolling along right now.
It's both. So we already had, we have about 50 listings right now. We have about 20 in pending. I guess about 17, 18, 19, and 20 in pending, right in there. I think we're going to put 2 more under contract today. And we have been, so we put all of our people on a different time management schedule. Okay. We use My Perfect Week that we get from KW. We use it all the time. We have it already pre-filled in there with stuff that KW has in there. And then we kind of change it for lead gen. Our lead gen schedule looks differently than it did before, because the phone calls that we're making, so our agents started calling immediately. Like, we started doing Zoom calls, which we were already doing Zoom calls because I met with my agents a couple times a week doing script practice, and I like to see their faces anyway. So, so we were already doing that with our script practice. But I rewrote, all of us did, not just Audra. We mastermind together, and we rewrote scripts for circle prospecting. We wrote scripts for our database. That was our first set of phone calls, which some of our people are not done with it because their databases are so big. They picked a letter a day, and they started calling A, and they started calling B, and then C. And one of my agents actually, when our call on Wednesday, said, okay, I'm at P. And the phone calls are taking longer. So it's taking longer to get through that data, because it's not, would you like to buy a house? They are real phone calls, making sure that everybody in their database is good, making sure they don't need anything. Do they need anything? Do their parents need anything? Do their kids need anything? Because we are healthy and we are able to go and get things for them.
Okay, so can I interrupt? So you're not pushing selling house, buying house, it's just a wellness check.
Correct.
Okay, excellent.
But then you have, we call it the 10-10-10. You have to have 10 conversations about real estate.
Okay.
You have 10, you have to like at least 10 people's Facebook/social media pages. You have to be in social media right now. Social media is a huge part of our world. And you also have to private message at least 10 people per day.
Okay.
So
that's
you have to be about, hey, you want to know about the real estate market? How are you? And it's just a wealth of information. We have to be out there shouting to the rooftops. Something I learned a long time ago was that people had this myth for years. If I don't have 20% to put down, I can't buy a house. Well, we all know that that's not what's been happening, right? We know that you can buy a house with 3.5% down, 5% down. There was even 0% down loans before COVID-19.
Right.
But that's changed. And so you had to speak that from the rooftops. Now, again, you have to be the voice of information again. And you have to speak from the rooftops of saying, this is our new normal. This is what we're living in. And if you want to buy or sell a house, this is the time. And let me tell you why. And you need to be the source of information for your world.
Okay. So you're the economist or the resource of information to help people navigate through this time.
Always.
Excellent. Okay, let's get to it. You mentioned that you've used virtual listings, virtual presentations. Tell me about that. You know, everybody's hears about it, but how do we effectively use it? And are you concerned with that? You know, with some of the Trek rules about not seeing a house, and you know, how are you managing all that to protect yourself and your team?
So we already have a listing presentation that's digital. So we took it a step further, and so we can do screen share, and we're having conversations with people. Some people we know, some people we don't know. It just depends on who gives us a call. You know, our phones are still ringing, which is a huge blessing. And people are like, hey, I want to sell a house. You know, one of my neighbors called me the other day and said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but I bought, you know, a house and now I need to sell this one. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're not affected by their world is moving forward and they're not affected. So you have to say, okay, great. This is what's happening in real estate. We are showing, we are getting, I don't know if this has happened to you guys, but we had a quiet week, the week of Easter. I think, you know, everybody was kind of celebrating Good Friday and Easter and trying to figure out what the new normal is with their family. But when Monday hit, my phone has not stopped ringing. I have been in my home office I showed almost all day, the day before yesterday and the day before. And we are going to be busy all the way through the weekend. I'm anticipating a ton of showings this weekend, a ton on our listing and with our buyers. So having those conversations, we have a buyer consultation. And also, so we have a video buyer consultation where we basically have a checklist of things that we go over. We already had that. And all of you should already have that too. Keller Williams provides that for you.
Okay.
You have to have a video conversation and discuss that with them. And you have to keep them entertained because it's not like they're in front of you. And you have to make it short, sweet, to the point, find out what their needs are, and then put a plan in place while you are on the phone with them. Every time you leave a conversation with a client, there needs to be a plan of action that you are going to do for them so you can meet again.
Gotcha. You got to keep it going. Keep
Absolutely.
Something will bring them back. Keep them engaged. Okay. What about virtual opens? Are you guys doing that, and how are you managing that?
Yep, we're doing a couple of those. They haven't been super successful. We've had some watching and some not. So we were doing 3D tours on some of our listings anyway. Okay. So we partnered with a new company who gave us a really good deal. And she's doing 10 of them for us next week. And we've decided to make that part of our regular services. So we will be doing 3D tours on every single listing that we have going forward. In addition to, I've gone and done some firm virtual tours, then our marketing people will put it together and kind of create that, but it's not the same. And people don't have that long, even though they have time right now, they still don't have that long of an attention span. So you have to keep them entertained about what they want. And that's the ticket, that's the trigger. And so yes, virtual opens are good. You can do a virtual open in 15 minutes, but you have to figure out what you're going to get out of it, who's going to be on there, what time of day is it going to be, and is it the right time? Easter weekend, not the right time to do virtual open, right? Not it, because people are focused on family, whether they can see them or not. But this weekend, or even on a Tuesday, people are. And weekends are still the best time because people are still working from home. They are working, even they're on Zoom calls, they're on phone calls, they are doing their work. So Saturdays and Sundays are still the very best time to do an open house, but you have to market it differently. You can't put it in HAR.
Share some information on that. Share some information about how you market a virtual open.
Well, I have a big social media following, and I also call all kinds of people, and I text all kinds of people. I tell everybody in my world what I'm doing. Everybody in my world knows what I'm doing all the time. If I'm acting silly, if I'm drinking, which is, you know, I like to drink, you know, whatever, everybody knows what I'm doing all the time. I get up, I get dressed, we put makeup on, and we focus on our day, and we manage our time throughout the day to make sure that when we're off, whatever you're going to do, if you're going to be off, but do it all the way. If you're going to work that day, then work and figure out what you're going to do, and don't mess around and don't work for 2 hours a day. Work for a full day, work for 6 hours, plan it, check it off your list, and whatever you're going to do for that time period, do it well. Spend time with your kids, spend time with your clients, whatever it is, don't multitask and do it right.
All right. I'm going to ask you for a nugget, something that we all could take away from this Zoom call. Before I open it up for questions, what advice or what nugget would you give this audience that we could take away and put it in place today?
So I'm going to go back to time management. You need to control your time. You need to sit down and write your perfect week out. You can use the spreadsheet. I'm sure Keith has it. He can email it to you guys. And it's already pre-filled out for KW, and then you can go in there and change it. Use your personal time. Make your phone calls. Make your phone calls. If you don't think people want to hear from you, you're wrong. You're wrong. And you need to pick up the phone and call and ask how people are doing. Because the question that you're going to get back is, how are you doing? And how is real estate? And you need to rehearse that script, and you need to know what real estate's about. Your mindset is a big part of that, because I got an offer from this lady the other day, and it's like $60,000, $70,000 under list. And she was like, you don't understand, the market's fixing to crash. And I was like, you know what? I feel sorry mostly for the client, because if the realtor is truly telling this client that the real estate market is crashing because she has some sort of crystal ball that none of us have seen, then the person I feel sorry for the most is that client, because they're going to keep putting low offers on homes, and people like me are going to keep not taking them, because we are not going to crash. I am not going to let my clients go into a fire sale. I'm not going to encourage or counsel them that way. And that guy, he's never going to find a house, because he's going to think that, what that realtor told him.
Right.
He's going to think that, oh my gosh, I can get a great deal. You might be able to get a deal, but not any better deal than you could have gotten before COVID-19.
Gotcha. Excellent. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to open everybody up so you can ask a question. And we have roughly 8 minutes left. So if you have a question, let me get everybody unmuted. And we have Audra's time. So if you have anything on your mind, here's your time to fire away. Any questions? Don't waste your time. I mean, you got a top producer, and she dropped a lot of knowledge on us right now. Is there anybody that has a question that I haven't unmuted? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Audra, are you finding that sellers are running scared based on the information in the news?
Mm-mm.
I saw yesterday they interviewed I think it was a Keller Williams agent on Channel 11, who was saying that she anticipates the effect of the oil, not only oil, but COVID-19 on sales. And the reporter said that they wouldn't know what the effect was until the numbers come out next month. So I wondered, how are sellers reacting?
So this is the deal about real estate, right? Let me tell you two things about that. Number one, I come from the restaurant business and real estate. So two of the hardest business we could possibly be in. And that's what our experience in life.
That's true.
And this is the deal. Everybody needs a place to live, and everybody needs to eat, okay? Whether they're up or they're going down. So whether they're losing their job and they have to sell their $1 million house or $600,000 house because the oil prices are going down and they didn't get their big bonuses, or those, high paid $150,000 receptionists, or, those executive assistants are now being, terminated because of the oil industry, they need to sell. Okay. And if they need to sell, they need a new place to live, whether it's downsizing or upsizing or whatever is happening. Everyone's going to need a place to live. It's your mindset that your sellers are listening to. When I have a conversation with every single seller, first of all, I'm very high up. I have a lot of energy anyway. This is normal for me. This is not just COVID-19, but your energy makes a difference in your conversations. Your interpretation of what's happening is what really matters, not the news. I don't watch the news, first of all. I don't. The more we've gotten into it, I watch it less and less, but I didn't watch it before this. I've only watched it to get what I need, and then I don't like drama in my head, but you are the source of information for your client. You need to show them current local stats. You need to show them our office stats. You need to show them that things are selling. We negotiated 4 contracts this week, y'all. 4 contracts this week. And it was realtors coming in. Yes, the conversations are different, but people are buying. People are selling. And not, I have 1 seller that's in withdrawn. Out of 50 listings, I have 1 because she's pregnant. That's it.
Okay.
And I told her I wanted it in withdrawn. She didn't want to. That was me forcing her because I didn't want people in her house.
Right.
Okay. So, but you need to have a conversation with every single person to let them know that real estate's not changing. We're in a little neck of the woods. You need to talk to them about their particular location. You know, I have listings all over Houston, but if you focus just on Sugarland, then you need to talk about Sugarland. You need to talk about how many listings are here, how many have sold, how many our office is put under contract, and how our numbers are not going down yet. Do we anticipate some fallout for May and June? Most likely. But you need to stay forward. Those realtors that didn't have any business before this started, they don't have any business right now. That wasn't different. Before COVID-19, if you didn't have any business, you have a different issue, okay? You weren't doing your job before. If you're not gonna do your job before, you're certainly not gonna do it now, okay? You need to stay positive. You need to have good conversations with your sellers and tell them about the market. But you have to believe it. It can't just be something you're spouting out. You have to believe that this is the way the market is going. And when I get an offer for $60,000 under list on a $500,000 house, I just tell them, thank you so much, but I think you're in the wrong price range. There is one over in this other section, and it's actually $420, and you can pay them full price and get what you need.
Exactly.
And I'm like, bye.
Okay. Well, I got a quick question before we go. Are you seeing more buyers come your way than sellers, or has that mix, is your mix the same, or is it more buyer heavy?
You know, I'm mixed. I have very mixed because we are such a high listing team that we also have the same. I'm been 50-50 for many years.
Okay.
So mine has not changed. However, something that you do need to know, if you are a heavy buyer's agent, the buyer's pool will get tighter as the mortgage business starts to tighten. They will continue to tighten. I do believe they've raised the rates a little bit right now. If you want my crystal ball, I think rates are going to stay a little high until the end of May and even maybe middle of May. And then I think they're going to drop for the rest of the year slowly and gradually so that people will start buying and to see how this falls out. Okay. I think they'll stay low through the rest of the year, which will help us, but they're not going to stay so low that people are going to be in freak out mode. I think they're going to keep them somewhat stable between 2.75 and 3.25. If you want my crystal ball, I don't know, but the people I listen to, that's what I feel. And you need to know that the range, you need to ask them a ton more questions. Don't leave it to the lender, and don't let them use a subpar lender. You make them use a lender that does their job correctly. And they need to, we're going to go into a buyer's market because the buyer pool is going to shrink because of the mortgage, because of the mortgage tightening.
Okay, I see that.
You need to know that you need to go after listings so that you can have business because the buyer pool is going to tighten up a little bit. And any buyer that you have, you love on them. You love on them like they're your grandma.
Okay, all right, excellent. We're running maybe 2 more minutes. If someone has a question, get it in now. I don't want our Zoom call to just be abruptly cut off. I'm using the free version.
Yes.
When showing properties, do you provide gloves and masks for your clients?
I do not provide masks, but I provide gloves and shoe covers. Everyone, I tell all of my clients to bring their own mask, whether it be a scarf or whatever if they don't have one, but everybody does bring one. I do wear one. If it depends on the situation, but I do have one, and everyone on my team has one. I have boxes of gloves, 2 different sizes. I put them on my hood and I say, hey, pick a glove, let's go inside. Don't touch your face, don't touch your phone. You keep your phone in your right hand and you touch everything with your left hand so that you don't, cross-contaminate your cell phone because you need it to open the doors.
Okay, thank you.
What is the spreadsheet she was talking about?
I'll get it for, go ahead, say that again, Audra.
The My Perfect Week spreadsheet.
Okay.
I can shoot it over to you. I use it all the time.
Yeah, email it to me and I'll get it to you, Jack.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap this up. We're coming up on my time. So Audra, I really thank you. You dropped a lot of great knowledge. I think I know we all benefited from it. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, you guys too. Nice
Take
to see
care.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.